Everybody, what's going on? Fabian for Liberty, Internet Anchorman TV. We're going to do a couple videos today about some really amazing stories. First, I want to talk to you about a new development just this morning that broke literally as I was driving in to do the shoot. Andrew Breitbart is dead, conservative blogger, journalist, whistleblower, 42 years old. And he is dead. I mean, if you remember Andrew Breitbart, agree or disagree with his policies, he was one of the people behind the big story about Acorn that broke that story. Remember, you had this young couple walk into multiple Acorn offices posing as literally a pimp and a prostitute to get home loans and to get all kind of other government assistance. And Acorn didn't bat an eye. They thought it was great. I mean, the couple at one point was talking about literally bringing in illegal aliens as sex slaves that they were operating, and Acorn didn't even bat an eye. I mean, they were actually giving them tips on how to help launder money and all kinds of other things. So Breitbart was behind that. It's obvious the guy had a ton of enemies. I mean, he was taking on the Obama administration, taking on the radical left in this country. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all his policies either. But I do find it troubling that he is dead, and I think that his family and I think that his colleagues should absolutely demand an autopsy. Here's a man who wasn't known to have any medical problems whatsoever, looked very healthy. In fact, at his CPAC speech that he gave just weeks ago, he riled up the crowd. It was actually a really good talk. But I find a part of the speech actually pretty troubling. And troubling in the sense of that now he's dead. And before I get to that, I just want to say, look, we're living in a world where things are not only rapidly changing. Just look at the last week. President Obama using the Espionage Act that was enacted in 1970 under another radical progressive, Woodrow Wilson, to basically silence any opposition. In this instance, he's used it 6 times since he's been in office, just 3 years. Prior to him, it was only used 3 times since its creation. Obama's used it 6 times. 6. I mean, people that have been so-called whistleblowers that have come out and simply, one guy came out simply and said, look, I think we're wasting too much money using this old software system. We should use this new software system. It'll save money. That guy's being threatened with 35 years of jail and is being put on trial. Another guy was a South Korean, he's American, was born in South Korea, but came here when he was really young. And he's a ballistic missiles expert. Evidently, he gave some information to Fox News, and now he is being threatened with 35 years of jail time. It's pretty hardcore to see an administration on so many levels. And again, it's not about Obama, it's about the people that have put him in office and the greater network that's behind him. But to see this administration literally pass the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, where they could scoop you up, throw you in jail, to see the privacy rights of Google, who is in bed with this administration and the government, completely being able to track you, track your credit card payments, track everything. And now journalists being threatened that if you come out or if you basically say anything that's against this administration, you're thrown in jail. I mean, to believe that we are endowed with our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among those life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, can we really say that we have liberty anymore in this country? Here's the speech from Andrew Breitbart. We're going to show it starting at the 5-minute mark. And we'll play it now for you can hear what he has to say.
Unfortunately, in the year 2004, the radical left basically did a coup d'etat of the Democratic Party and basically kicked a person that 4 years before was called the standard bearer of decency in the Democratic Party, and that was Joe Lieberman. That was over. That was the end of the Democratic Party, and after the 2010 election cycle, the DLC went under. It's over. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat. And so what do we get now in Barack Obama? Well, I've got videos, by the way. This election, we're going to vet him. I've got videos. this election we're going to vet him from his college days to show you why racial division and class warfare are central to what Hope and Change was sold in 2008.
All right, so according to Andrew Breitbart, he had video footage of Obama in Harvard that he was going to release prior to the campaign, prior to the election taking place. Now, if you remember, Obama went to Occidental College, he went to Harvard. No one has ever seen any transcripts. They've never seen anything about his time in college. I mean, every past president before him, at some point or another, has released transcripts, has released papers they wrote. In fact, the left in this country has demanded that those documents be released when it was George Bush or whoever the other presidents were. But nothing about Obama, not one thing. In fact, I had an interview that I did with the Libertarian candidate back in 2007, Wayne Allen Root. He was the vice president candidate at the time. The Georgia congressman was running for president. He told me he went to Harvard at the same time Obama went to Harvard. In fact, he studied law like Obama. Would have graduated in the same class, never once remembered seeing Obama there ever. But Breitbart came out and said he had footage of Obama, in essence, being a radical and saying radical things about race and other things, like they are using now. Obama recently comes out with African Americans for Obama. Imagine if Ron Paul came out with white people for Ron Paul. What the media, I mean, it would be total insanity. He would be completely labeled a racist, and everything else. I'll tell you, one of my trends was Civil War-like tensions in going into this election. Breitbart is dead. I think an autopsy should be demanded. We know he had video footage of Obama in college. No one has ever seen this. No one has any idea what was going on during that time period of Obama in college. I don't know where those videos are now. I don't know if they will be released. And if they're not released, I think that's a pretty compelling argument to find out, well, was this guy taken out? Was he killed? Again, a couple years ago, I would have said, he died of natural causes. They'll do an autopsy that was released. But we live in such an insane world. When I look back and I study history and I know that government's the #1 killer, period, in the history of the world. In the 20th century, they murdered over 100 million people. Government did this. To say that our government, who had killed 1 million innocent Iraqis over a war that wasn't even justified, would they take out one guy who might have explosive video evidence against a guy who's trying to paint himself as being, a center-left kind of candidate, that's trying to be a moderate, and has video exposing him as being a full-blown radical that on record is trying to use race to pass a radical agenda? I mean, would they kill somebody over that? Absolutely they would. And you know what? I have no problem saying that, because that's how crazy and insane the world is that we live in today. It is, I'll tell you, I know just personally of people that have been, literally had their lives threatened, that have been conservative talk show people, that have been radio people, that have had not only death threats, but literally have had to deal with the IRS doing audits of them on a yearly basis for no reason. The IRS auditing Tea Parties across the country, but no audit of the Occupy Wall Street people who have accounts with hundreds of thousands of dollars in them. It is really an insane world that we live in. And I think that there will come a moment in time when speaking out will literally be a crime. You will put your life in jeopardy for speaking out. And that's why I think all of us need to speak out, because there's something as far as safety in numbers is concerned. Although that may have not worked out too well for Andrew Breitbart. Quick break. We'll be back in a second. I'm your internet anchorman, Fabian for Liberty.